Spotify is pairing with Netflix in 2026 as a brand new podcasting distribution platform. What does that mean for creators like us? And does it spark the end of all things podcasts? Or is this actually an exciting new venture that we could eventually tap into? Let's have a look. So in front of me on my computer, I've got the news report from Spotify themselves explaining the partnership that they've got with Netflix and what exactly it is that they're trying to achieve with this new distribution method. Because obviously when you think of Netflix, you think of films and TV shows, but you don't think of podcasts. And obviously Netflix branched out not that long ago to have games on their platform, so little mobile games. But this is a completely different kind of stretch in a different direction. Obviously, when you think of podcasts, or as we know them, kind of historically, they've been an audio-based platform. Now, partnering with Netflix, obviously that's very visual. So that's something that we need to look into to see how they're evolving what a podcast is supposed to be. So here I have the thing in front of me, and it says Spotify Studios and the Ringer video podcasts are coming to Netflix. So this is mainly podcasts that have been nurtured and are already growing on Spotify's platform. These aren't random ones that you can find that are made by independent creators. These are people that are already partnering with Spotify, it seems, and the Ringer. So that there are a collection of podcasts that they're releasing on Netflix that are being curated. They're not just picking anyone, okay? These are podcasts that already exist. So here's what it says. It says, early next year, your favorite video podcasts are getting a bigger stage. Spotify and Netflix are teaming up to bring sports, culture, lifestyle, and true crime video podcasts from Spotify Studios and The Ringer to Netflix to complement the streamer's existing programming and unlock new audiences and wider distribution for their shows. So obviously they're talking about now adding things to Netflix to complement what Netflix already has on there. So like I just mentioned, if you think about what Netflix already has, it's all video and it's TV and it's films and it's games and all of that. I'm not sure how this complements that. In my mind, this is turning Netflix into more of a streaming, like a YouTube service or something like that, a place where, you know, there is videos that are being uploaded by creators and it completely changes the functionality of the platform. So I guess that's the first main thing. You know, is Netflix trying to become a platform like YouTube where creators can upload content? Because up until now, you think about Blockbuster, and then Blockbuster disappeared, and then we got Netflix to replace that kind of industry of film distribution. Are they now coming at creators and giving them another platform that might rival YouTube? Maybe they evolve into giving us new monetization options, new partnership options, things like that. So maybe that's what they're getting at from what I see there. Goes on to say audiences will be able to watch select Spotify Studios and the Ringer video podcasts on Netflix starting early 2026 in the US, with more markets to follow. So this isn't in the UK yet, it's just in the US, which is interesting. So obviously they're intending on rolling this out throughout the world maybe, but the US is definitely the guinea pig for that. So okay, that's fine. Goes on to say, this collaboration offers fans more ways to connect with the stories and voices they love. That's interesting. Okay, so you think about how you typically consume a podcast. Okay, so, you know, back in the day, you would be listening to a podcast on the way to work in the car, or you would be listening, you know, in your ears whilst you're working or whilst you're tidying up the house. Like, it was just audio, okay, back in the day. Now you've got video platforms, so, you know, you have to be more stationary whilst watching it. You can't watch it in the car anymore if you want to watch the video version anyway. You know, Spotify now allows us to upload both video and audio versions of the podcast at the same time, so people then have the choice, but the video will be playing. So people will sit and watch it perhaps. Maybe they're on their phone, maybe they are in front of a computer, things like that. And then obviously creators now, with repurposing and all of that, they are uploading to lots of different places at once. So they'll upload to YouTube, they'll upload to Spotify, they'll upload to Apple Podcasts, they'll then cut the clips out and post them on TikTok and Instagram and all of these different places. One thing that springs to mind though is it mentions about how it will give fans more ways to connect with the stories and voices they love. So, obviously on Instagram and YouTube, there are already ways for people to connect with people, whether it's commenting, liking, rating stuff, whatever it might be. There's a back and forth to some extent. So is Netflix looking at making a way for fans to actually talk to the content creators on the platform? Or is it going to be purely consumption where they just watch it and there's no way to comment or like or follow or anything like that? Because also, I suppose Netflix doesn't really have a way of following things or subscribing to things, because you watch a TV show and then you watch a film, but you don't subscribe to that. You don't ask for more, you just know what you're getting in for. So maybe they'll find a way of following people, subscribing, something like that maybe. So you want to start a podcast, but you don't know how. First of all, like and subscribe and have a look around the channel. There's lots of useful videos to help you on your way to starting, scaling, and thriving in your podcast career. Also, did you know that we run a 3-day event over here in Peterborough called the Podcast Profit System? Come join us in a room of like-minded individuals, meet the progressive team, learn how we do things, and there's a free lunch thrown in as well. All right, let's get back to the video. It says it's a celebration of the creators and a powerful step forward in how their work reaches the world. Some of the video podcasts that will be available include, and then it gives you a list. So it gives you a list of all these podcasts that they will include. There's a few. Mainly sports. Mainly sports podcasts, and then a couple of culture and lifestyle ones, true crime ones, etc. I've gone in and I've had a look at a few of these, and they're very popular, and they're obviously being homegrown through Spotify, so they've got a support and engagement behind them, so that shouldn't be a worry. But one thing that this has kind of made me think is, there's two things that have just come to mind actually. The first thing is, how are we going to convince these people to go over to Netflix rather than anywhere else to watch it? People are already on Spotify. They've already got the app on their phone. And if people are consuming these podcasts in the way that they'd normally consume them, like we just said, how are they going to go over to Netflix to watch something or listen to something in the car? They're simply not going to. They're only going to consume Netflix at home on the TV, sat on the sofa. And when I'm consuming stuff at home on the sofa, I tend to be on YouTube, first of all, and I tend to be consuming really engaging, edited pieces of content. Like, I'm here to be entertained. And I'm not saying that these podcasts aren't entertaining by a long shot, but I looked at them and they're very static. So, it's just an interview. It's what a podcast is. This isn't a criticism towards these creators at all. It is simply what a podcast is. So, it might be a couple of people sat around a table. It might be two people sat opposite each other talking. It might be a Zoom call that we're watching here. And I know that these interviews are uploaded to YouTube and people do watch them there as well. But I would have thought for these creators, and this is where it becomes an opportunity. This is where, in my mind, it could become exciting, is where if something is being uploaded to Netflix, it lends itself to being more dynamic, more creative, more long form. Maybe it takes the place of actually becoming more of a podcast show rather than just like a filmed interview. It will give them another platform to go onto, maybe some funding perhaps, as these are pioneers of a new way of doing things. And clearly Spotify already has their back. So maybe this will be a really useful way of Spotify giving them some money or something and saying, you can really level up the production of your show, have more segments, do more creative stuff, get out the studio space. Now, I understand that that isn't what any of these podcasts were ever meant to be, to an extent. So it'll be interesting to see how the format evolves and what it means for podcasting as a whole. So, it lists a bunch of podcasts. The true crime ones could be really interesting as well. There's a lot of really popular YouTube channels with true crime and ghost stories and things like that. So there's a really popular market there if they can tap into it. But let's see what else it says. So, at Netflix, we're always looking for new ways to entertain our members wherever and however they want to watch. Okay, that's totally fine. I mean, they're looking to entertain their members however they want to watch. So maybe they are just enriching the lives of the people that are currently on Netflix. I mean, I don't know what the uptake was for the games on Netflix when they introduced those, or any of the other things that they've introduced since. So maybe they are just becoming more of a diversified platform. So Lauren Smith is the Netflix VP of Content Licensing and Programming Strategy. Fine. As video podcasts continue to grow in popularity, our partnership with Spotify allows us to bring full video versions of these top shows to both Netflix and Spotify audiences. Well, like I say, these are already videos on Spotify already, so this isn't adding anything new to Spotify itself. So I wonder what is in it for Spotify to take their shows off of their platform, or at least share them somewhere else as well. From pop culture and lifestyle to true crime and sports, this curated selection of video podcasts adds fresh voices and new perspectives to Netflix, making our entertainment lineup more exciting than ever. Again, just reinforcing the point that they're trying to diversify what Netflix is, which is fine. They're allowed to do that. Let's keep reading. So this is about more on Spotify's side of things, which is actually what I wanted to know. So it says, this creative collaboration reflects how Spotify continues to evolve podcasting. What once began as an audio-first medium is now a vibrant, multi-format landscape. At what point does a podcast just become a YouTube show or a video show? Where's the line? Where do we draw the line? Instead of evolving podcasting, are we just turning podcasting into like just full YouTube video, normal content style stuff? I don't know whether this is an evolution, and I don't necessarily know what Netflix could do other than force people to watch it on a TV instead of a mobile or whatever, or in the car or whatever it might be. I'm just interested. This is news. This is all news to me. So this partnership marks a new chapter for podcasting, says Roman Wassenmuller, I think maybe, or Wassenmuller, who's the VP and head of podcasts at Spotify. Together with Netflix, we're expanding discovery, helping creators reach new audiences and giving fans around the world the chance to experience the stories they love and uncover favorites they never even expected. This offers more choice to creators and unlocks a completely new distribution opportunity. It does. But who's going to be doing that? As a creator, one thing that I'd be super aware of is that just another place for me to spend an hour uploading to for not much gain. Creators, at least smaller creators, are really keen to understand, where their audience is coming from, how to target them effectively. And for a lot of small independent creators, especially on the agency, that comes down to, limiting your platforms, thinking about where you work best, where most of your audience is, and targeting it that way, because then you can, create your funnels, sell stuff, do all of that. I do think that Netflix would only really work for a podcast that is big already and has a grasp on its funnel and knows what it's selling and has all of that already integrated. This won't help an independent creator. Here's what I think. Anyway, I'm willing to be proven wrong. So yeah, all about that new distribution system. Last little paragraph then. Okay, so elevating the ecosystem. The collaboration also reinforces Spotify's belief that when platforms work together, creators benefit. By partnering with Netflix, Spotify is helping creators captivate even more fans worldwide. Looking ahead, Spotify plans to bring similar opportunities to a wider range of creators. Throughout this expansion, the core principles of Spotify's podcasting model remains unchanged. Creators retain control, benefit from multiple revenue streams, and are supported in building sustainable businesses. Now that is good to know. Is Netflix going to introduce some sort of revenue stream for creators? Is there something that we're going to be able to tap into that maybe is either specific to Netflix or kind of joins in with Spotify together? One thing that is a point is, where's Apple Podcasts in all of this? Obviously, a lot of creators post on all the things. Is Spotify going to limit where else you can put things? Or is Netflix going to limit where else you can put things? So it's yet to see whether this will limit creativity and distribution or properly enhance it. It's all yet to be seen. But that's my opinion off the offset. It could be interesting in creating more, like they said at the bottom, it's more dynamic, it's more visual, could be more engaging, could be higher budget, could provide bigger creators with another revenue stream. I'd be interested to see how it impacts smaller businesses, ones that, have either a small audience or very limited channels for their audience. How are they going to tap into Netflix? How would it really benefit them? It's yet to be seen. It's yet to be seen. But I'm here for it. As part of the agency, we're always looking at new distribution platforms and trying to get people to where they need to be. So this is just an exciting thing to pack through. And I hope that maybe my insight has given you a perspective on it. Or if you just needed someone to digest it for you, then there you go. So thank you so much for watching. I've been Louie from the Podcasters Podcast, and tune in next time for some more podcast-related shenanigans. I'll see you next time.